Who has the best qualification streak in Eurovision? Today I'm going to be showing you the full rankings, who's in the top 10. Let's kiki. Hi, my name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst and you can find all this stuff on my Eurovision channel. So in this video, I'm going to be going through the qualification streaks of all the countries who've competed. I'm going to start from 2008 because that's when he had the two semi-final system. That's just a choice that I've made because if you go back further, the qualification rate was a lot lower. So countries who competed back then would have gotten punished more. It's just a decision I've made. If you're struggling through the Eurovision off season, don't forget that I'm reviewing old Eurovisions. If you want to see them as soon as they're released with all the original audio, it's up on my Patreon. If you don't want to join the Patreon, you can just buy access to that single folder. So go check it out. Okay, let's start off in very last place. This country has tried to qualify 4 times and they have never been successful. So with a qualification rate of 0%, we have Slovakia. They've actually been talking about returning to the contest. We actually had a Slovakian artist compete this year in Adonis. I was hoping that if he did very well, we might see Slovakia hurrying back to the contest, but unfortunately not. Joined in 93, tried to qualify in 09, 10, 11 and 12. The closest they came was 13th with Twins, I'm Still Alive. So really unfortunate that they've never tasted the glory of making it through to the Eurovision final. That's why they need to come back. They have to get that first qualification. They've been toying with it. It's not impossible, but again, similar to Czechia, I don't know if there's a huge amount of public support for this. So we might need some super passionate person, the broadcaster, to take over the reins and drive them back into the Eurovision family. Hopefully one day we will see Slovakia qualify to the Eurovision final. So that means second to last is the other country who has never qualified for the Eurovision final. They joined the contest in 2004. Tried to qualify 6 times before eventually giving up. But since 2008, they only didn't qualify 2 times, which is why they won the tiebreaker over Slovakia. That is Andorra. Gisela coming 16th in 2008 and Suzanne Georgi coming 15th in 2009. But then in the old system, they also didn't qualify 4 times. Seems like they only sent female entries and then a rock group singing in Catalan or English. Oh, which way does the flag go? Also, so yes, Andorra has never tasted that sweet qualification. They have a very similar magnet to Moldova. As you'll see here, there's a different crest of arms. Will we ever see Andorra back in the contest? I'm not expecting to. To be honest, I think if they do, they need to come up with some sort of a strategy like San Marino has. Andorra has 82,000 people. San Marino only has 33, but San Marino has found a system that works for them, whether it be getting artists from San Remo or their shady funding systems. They find a solution to the fact that they don't have a lot of resources. So if Andorra are going to come back, they need to have something like that. Maybe they get the leftovers from Benidorm Fest or something like that. But otherwise, I don't really see them coming back as being particularly successful. Okay, in 41st place is a country that is currently not in the contest, but hopefully they'll be back soon. It is North Macedonia. So they were last in the contest in 2022. They have a qualification rate of 14.3. So if we go back, actually we can see here, they had 4 qualifications in a row. But again, I'm not counting from 2004, but they did do well. You can see they came 10th, 9th, 10th, 9th. So really on the cusp of qualifying. And then they had these 2 extremely unlucky non-qualifications in 2008, 2009. In case you don't know, there was a golden jury rule. So the 10th qualifier was whoever was ranked highest in the jury scores. The first 9 qualifiers came from the televote. And just very, very unlucky that both years, North Macedonia were the country who were in 10th place with the televote, but not the jury. So you can see actually they had a very strong beginning there. In the first 6 contests, they were in the top 10 all 6 times. And theoretically, under current rules, would have qualified 6 out of 6 years. Since then, though, they went through this super dark period. Look at this. 10 years, only 1 qualification in 2012 with Calliope. And, she did come back as well in 2016 to try again, and she was so close coming 11th. So North Macedonia have had incredible heartbreak with Eurovision. They qualified again in 2019 with Tamara Tadevska, which ended up winning the jury, although she didn't get her moment of glory because of Belarus messing up their jury scores. And then since then, coming back 15th with Vasil in 2021, and then 2022 coming 11th in the semi with Circles, which was a bit of a surprise. That did much better than I expected. Really, really sad that we've lost North Macedonia. You can just see all these failed to qualify. You can see how they were just getting a little bit despondent. We haven't had them in the contest in the last 3 years. We haven't a confirmation that they aren't going to be in for 2026, but I'm not expecting it. I think their current plan is that they want to focus on Junior Eurovision, which is a little bit cheaper. They have this record of always coming 12th in Junior Eurovision, and some of their Junior Eurovision songs are really great. Although there are rumours that Bobby Andanoff, who represented them in Junior Eurovision 2008, who's an Australian singer with North Macedonian roots, would like to represent them this year. So maybe that might be something that changes it up. I'd love them to come back and just get a top 5 result out of nowhere. But yeah, I think that they are right to wait for the right year with the right person, have a bit more of a great package lined up, and then join if they've got something competitive. Okay, next up in 40th place, we have a country that is in the contest right now, and they've confirmed that they're going to be in the 2026 edition, despite having one of the worst qualification records. That is Montenegro. They didn't qualify in 2025, so their qualification rate goes down 1.5% to 16.7. And we can see here, there's a similar dismal pattern to North Macedonia. So many failed to qualify. Only those 2 years that happened in 2014 and 2015. Was there something different that the Montenegrin delegation was doing during that period? I don't know. Leave a comment down below if you know if there was a change up, but they qualified in 7th place with Moje Svijet and then Nez with Adio. So both Balkan ballads sung by male artists, both in a period though where there were jury in the semi-finals as well. But yes, since then, they've had 6 non-qualifications, currently the longest ongoing streak. They had those 5 qualifications at the start as well, taking a break in 2010 and 2011. So really, really great that they're consistent, because honestly, a lot of these qualifications aren't really close. You know, 16th, 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 17th, and then 16th this year, but it was last place. So poor Nina Zizic. I actually think that Neo Known could have done better. You know, it was something different. It was the first song of the year, so there's no way they could have known that it would have been different, because we didn't know any of the other songs. So in hindsight, we know that it would have stuck out because it was a rock song. There were no other rock songs, not only in the semi-final, but in the entire contest this year, other than Lithuania and a little bit of Italy. They've just announced information about Monty Song now. Hopefully, they'll be making a couple of changes and they can get a little bit better luck. Next up, let's go to the country in 39th place. We have a country that is participating in the contest right now, and they qualified in 2025. It's San Marino. So huge shout out to San Marino, who've been in every contest since 2011. They've always managed to find the finances to show up. They've got a lot of failed to qualify here, but they've also had 4 times where they have qualified, with Valentina Moneta getting through on her 3rd of 4 attempts, qualifying in 10th place. She should have qualified in 2013. She had a wonderful song that year, which did very well in the OJE. And then Serhat qualifying in 8th, getting their best result ever, coming 19th in the final. Senhit coming 9th with a big fan favourite. And then Gabri Ponte coming 10th. So the years that they have qualified, they've been in the final 3, 10th, 10th, 9th, and 8th. Still incredible that a country so small has qualified 4 times. And actually, if you look at their streak in the last 7 years, they've qualified 3 of 7 times, which is really great. Overall, they've got a qualification rate of 26.7. San Marino showing that you can be an underdog and still qualify at Eurovision without any diaspora. Okay, let's get a 38th place, staying put with a qualification rate of 29.4% is Latvia, who are currently on a 2 qualification streak. So they used to be a lot lower and they're moving up slowly, but kind of similar to North Macedonia in that you can see when there was the 1 semi-final system where you could get votes from all of your diaspora. Keep in mind, that's the other difference with 1 semi-final from 2 semi-finals. They got in 10th, 5th, and 6th. They qualified 3 of those 4 years. Yeah, but since 2008, it's been a little bit more difficult. There's 6 non-qualifications in a row between 2009 and 2014. A little bit of a respite with Amanada coming 6th, doing extremely well in the jury. That's their best result since 2005. The next year coming back 2016 with the song written by Amanada. So I thought that she was going to kind of end up being one of their superstars who wrote them eventually a song that would get them their second win, but she seems to have fizzled out a little bit. Then another 6 non-qualifications in a row and then 2 qualifications. So there is a little bit of a pattern here. You may notice 6 non-qualifications, 2 qualifies, 6 non-qualifies, 2 qualifies. Hopefully we're not going into another 6 non-qualifications. I don't think we are. I think Latvia have really turned things around. Last year's Supernova was absolutely excellent. I'm hoping, expecting that this year will be excellent again, that Latvia have really found the stride in their national final and it's going to start gaining in prestige, grow even bigger and become as strong and solid as Estilal. Okay, so going from a country that's on a fantastic trajectory to one that's on a little bit more of a rocky one. 37th place, moving down 1 spot because they didn't qualify this year, is my country. It's Ireland with a qualification rate of 35.3. That's down 2.2%. And you can see that we've only qualified 2 of the last 7 years. 2018, that was Ryan O'Shaughnessy, and 2024 obviously was Bambi Thug. And the strange thing is both those songs qualified quite comfortably. Together by Ryan was 6th, Bambi Thug was 3rd. So when we do qualify, it's really, really good. But then the rest of them are just kind of like between 12th and 15th. And to be honest, I don't really think there's any robberies there. I know lots of people say Brooke was robbed. I think that her show was way better than the Late Late Show, but it still wasn't up to the standard that other countries were bringing. But yeah, you can see there's a fundamental problem here with RTE. There's a lack of innovation. There's a lack of investment in resources, and that's the reason that we do so badly. The contest has looked down in the country, and the fact that our national final has such low production quality and some of the artists are worried about being picked apart by a jury panel, I think really stops our talented newcoming artists from wanting to apply. So we're just stuck in this hamster wheel of doom, basically. I might do an Ireland update video if that's something that you're interested in, but my feeling is that Bambi Thug was a blip, and really the fundamental problems that exist with our selection process are still there. Okay, in 36th place, we have a country that did not participate this year. So they jumped ahead of Ireland up 1 place with a qualification rate of 36.4. It is Bulgaria. I believe their Twitter account has just confirmed that they won't be in Eurovision 2026. My understanding is there's a lack of interest, a lack of funds, and they need the artists to have their own kind of financial system to send themselves there. Let's have a look at their record though. There was a 6 non-qualification streak between 2008 and 2013. Actually, 2008, DJ Take Me Away was a little bit of a favourite before the contest, which ended up shock non-qualifying in 11th. They came 11th in 2012 as well. You can see in those non-qualifications for the times they were pretty close. And then they went through their absolute golden period in 2016, 17 and 18, where Borislav Milanov was writing many of their songs, coming 4th, 2nd and 14th in the final, winning their semi-final with Christian Kostov in 2017. It did really well in 2021 as well, coming 3rd in the semi, 11th overall. 2022 was super messy with Intelligent Music Project. My understanding was they self-funded, even though it wasn't the best package. And since then, it seems like they just have struggled to find someone who's willing to fund. But when they were in the contest, they had really great results. Those 4 years where they came top 14, 4 out of 4 times, really impressive. Very sad that we don't have Bulgaria. They were one of my favorite countries in the contest. Pali, Christian and Equinox were all in my top 10, so I'm really sad that they're not in. And with those 4 qualifications in a row, they'd actually improved their record a lot. But right. Okay, in 35th place, we have a country that did not qualify this year, and you might be a little bit surprised that they're so low because they do have quite a lot of hype and attention every year. It's Croatia with a qualification rate of 40%. They've moved down 1 place. You're obviously having a huge amount of hype with Baby Lasagna and Let 3, both qualifying. But then this year, Marco broke that streak, coming 12th. And you can see in general, they have a similar pattern to Latvia. They have 4 non-qualifications between 2010 and 2013. They took a 2-year gap in 2014 and 2015. I gotta admit, I don't know why that is. If you do know, leave me a comment down below. And then coming back to 2 qualifications with Nina and Jack, then 4 non-qualifications and back onto a 2 qualification streak. And now theoretically, if the pattern continues, we're gonna have 4 non-qualifications from Croatia. I'm not expecting that. I do feel like they've turned a little bit of a corner. I feel like Dora has been very interesting with good diversity recently. A couple of small mistakes, like for example, not allowing Lelek to sing their song in Croatian. I believe they requested to, but it was denied. I think that's small things like that. Not choosing Baby Lasagna as well was obviously a pretty gigantic error. So not perfect, but I feel like Dora's on the right track. So yeah, that's why I feel like Croatia being 33rd in the rankings might be a little bit surprising. I'm expecting Croatia to move up, but obviously they need to get back on their qualification streak to do that. We need them good because we want as many countries in the southeast and east as Europe competitive to win Eurovision so we can go somewhere different. In 34th place, we are not moving far. This is a country that borders Croatia with a qualification rate of 41.2%. It is Slovenia. Actually qualified 4 of the last 7 years, which isn't bad. You can see here, another country, there's a lot of qualification patterns going on. We have a really long one here since 2012. 2 non-qualifications, 2 qualifications, 2 non, 2 qual, 2 non, 2 qual. I wouldn't be surprised actually if that pattern continues and we get another non-qualification from Slovenia in 2026, which will continue this pattern, assuming that we see them there because they're very, very unhappy about the participation of that country. So yeah, I don't know. I can kind of see this pattern continuing unless Slovenia changes something, assuming they're even there. But them and Iceland were the most outspoken about that country. So maybe we might not even see them in Eurovision 2026. I really hope that we do. I love their point of view. I hope they go back to an internal selection method. I felt like that got them really interesting entries with Joker Out and Raven. Even though they didn't do as well as expected, coming 21st and 23rd, I still felt it had a lot of hype and love from the community, and it was putting Slovenia on the radar. So fingers crossed that Slovenia can break that pattern. Okay, in 33rd place, we have a country that didn't participate this year and won't participate next year either, moving up 2 spots by merit of other countries moving down. It is Belarus, who've been out since 2019. But you can see before that happened, I'm not too familiar with their qualification record. Yeah, they seem to non-qualify more often than so. Xena, I believe in 2019, only made it because of a jury error. Poland actually qualified, but one of the jurors put her scores in backwards. So that's the reason that Xena made it. Okay, in 32nd place, moving down 2 spots because they didn't qualify this year, with a qualification rate of 41.7%, is Czechia, country that I'm really concerned about. They've qualified 4 of the last 7 contests. That's really, really good. 2 known qualifications in a row. They invested a lot of money, especially into this year, sending a big star. There's not a huge amount of interest for Eurovision in Czechia. So I really do hope that we will see them. I'm wearing their colours today. If you look at 22 and 23, coming 4th and 4th in their semi-finals is really excellent. Lake Malawi came 2nd and Miklas Joseph came 3rd. So they actually had 4 out of 5 years where they were in the top 4 of their semi-finals. So they were in a great period from 2018 to 2023. They've got a little bit of a blip now. They were very close the last 2 years, coming 11th and 12th. So it's not like they came last or anything. So I wouldn't be too dejected, but I really hope we see them back because I feel like Czechia is one of the countries who could get that first win. Their best result ever, you can see, is 2018 Miklas Joseph. Only 13 participations in the contest. So one of the newer countries. Really hope that we see Czechia in Vienna next year. 31st place, moving down 2 spots because they didn't qualify this year, is Georgia. Now you might be a little bit surprised that Georgia is in 29th and not in the 30s, but part of that is because they had a pretty decent qualification record at the start. So you can see there in 2008 qualifying with Diana, they withdrew in 2009, but in 2010 coming 3rd in their semi-final, then 6th, and then also qualifying in 2013, 2015 and 2016. So they were pretty solid in this period between 2008 and 2016, but since then, they've been absolutely dismal, qualifying 1 time in the last 8 contests. That was obviously Nutsa. This season with a very confusing song, Mariam Shangeli singing Freedom. Although I've seen on Twitter, this has gained a little bit of popularity recently. People seem to like it more. But yeah, I still think this song was really messy and seemed last minute put together. So I don't know what to expect from Georgia next year. I kind of wouldn't be surprised if they withdrew, although if you look at this record, they've attended every single year since they joined the contest in 2007. So the pattern suggests that they will be there. For me, Freedom felt like the type of song that you send and then the next year you're not in the contest anymore, but who knows? In 30th place, you're going to be a little bit gawped because this is kind of surprising because this is one of the strongest countries in the entire contest right now, and that is Switzerland. They are 30th. Now they have moved up 2 spots. They got a qualification rate of 43.8. They obviously didn't have to qualify this year because they were the host country, but this will make sense when you look back at their old record. So between 2008 and 2018, they only had 2 qualifications. One of those was Anna Rossellini in 2011. And then in 2014, Subalter Hunter of Stars, which is a fabulous song. I really, really like that song. So they had a dismal qualification record. And I have to admit, I just did not think about or care about Switzerland before they had their massive revamp in 2019. They were just not on my radar, very similar to Austria. But then since 2019, look at this record. 5 qualifications in a row, including a win and a 3rd place with John's Tears and a 4th place with Luca Hani. They're absolutely one of the strongest, and a 10th place with Zoe, despite getting 0 points in the televote. They're one of the strongest countries in Eurovision right now. So a little bit of a surprise, but I'm expecting them to continue on staying strong, and I expect them to keep rising up these qualification rankings. So when I do this video next year, hopefully they'll have climbed up a couple more places. I think it's apt that Switzerland are climbing up the mountain slowly, considering the Alps. In 29th spot, we have a country that did qualify this year, so they've moved up 2 places. That is Malta, with a qualification rate of 47.1. They've qualified 3 of the last 7 years, but you can see generally they've had a little bit of trouble in terms of qualifying. Chiara qualifying in 2009. And then they had 3 qualifications in a row, 12, 13 and 14, with 3 male artists. Malta generally sends more female artists. I associate them with having very strong female vocalists. Ira Lasco, Michaela. So since then they've been kind of on and off, apart from that 3 non-qualification streak in 22, 23 and 24, which they broke this year, which was really, really great, coming 9th in the semi-final despite all the controversy. And they confirmed for next year. I feel like they're going to continue developing the Malta Song Contest and they could get onto a little bit of a roll. They just need to consistently find what is their special voice in the contest. I think the habit of just buying songs from other countries is just not good long term. So the fact that they're writing them themselves, having songwriting camps, I think could eventually get them up this qualification rate scoreboard. Fingers crossed for Malta that they can keep climbing. In 28th place, moving down 1 spot, you might be a little bit surprised from this, is Belgium, qualifying 3 of the last 4 years. You can see they had a rocky start though. In 8, 9, 11 and 12, 4 out of 5 years not qualifying. Then they went through this incredible streak in 15, 16 and 17, coming 2nd, 3rd and 4th in their semi-finals and getting 3 top 10 finishes. And I remember at that point thinking Belgium's going to win again soon, but they've gone off the boil. They had 2 non-qualifications in a row with a lot of bad staging decisions. Then they had a 3 qualification streak and now back to 2 non-qualifications again. So what's next for Belgium? I think they're going to bounce back. I feel like they're really, really invested. But yeah, these 2 non-qualifications in a row, hopefully they've taken lessons from those and not just put it down to bad luck because mistakes were made. I think Musty with the staging and the vocals and Red Sebastian with the song. They need to find that magic that they had between 2015 and 2017 when they were regularly in the top 10. 27th spot, moving up 1 place, is Poland with a qualification rate of 53.3. Also qualified 3 of the last 7 years. And they've also been a little bit streaky. 3 non-qualifications into 4 qualifications into 3 non-qualifications. And then they've qualified 3 of the last 4 years. So I feel like they're in a pretty good place. Luna last year, I feel it was a little bit messy last minute. There were problems with TVP. So, if you kind of ignore that they've qualified the last 3 contests in a row, I'm expecting them to keep developing their national final and get on a little bit of a streak. I can see them becoming a little bit how like Serbia were when Serbia were on that qualification streak. So I'm expecting to Poland keep moving up if they can stay in good habits, keep the national final clean, don't get into any messy stuff, don't go back to those old corrupt habits, and I'm expecting them to keep rising up. In 26th spot, staying put, even though they qualified this year, you're going to be a little bit surprised by this one as well, it is the Netherlands, who've qualified 5 of the last 6 times they've been in the semi-final. And all 7 of those qualifications have been in the top 7. And Duncan Lawrence won the semi-final, Claude came 3rd, Joost came 2nd, and Stein came 2nd as well. So of those 7 qualifications, 4 of them were in the top 3. So why are they 24th in the qualification rankings? And that is because of this 8 non-qualification streak, which I believe is a record since 2005. Now, obviously, I'm only counting since 2008. If I was counting even farther back, Netherlands would be even lower, so lucky for that. But Netherlands are the poster child for turning things around. Big change up in 2013, getting a nuke in, starting this internal selection process, just revamping the perception of representing Netherlands in the contest. And since then, they've just been wonderful. Only 2 non-qualifications in 2015, and then obviously the drama from 2023. Very similar to Switzerland, totally turned things around. I expect them to qualify every year now because they're constantly sending quality. So I think that we're going to see Netherlands continue to climb up this scoreboard. In 25th spot, staying put, they did qualify this year. It is Albania. They've qualified 5 of the last 7 years. They've confirmed for next year as well. And you can see things start off really well with 4 qualifications out of 5. Then they went to a patch where they didn't qualify in 13, 14, 16 and 17. I remember that being a pretty messy period with some slightly dodgy song revamps into English. But since then, qualifying in 18, 19 with great songs, 21, a little bit fortunate qualifying in 10th spot. 23, also a little bit lucky in 9th with some diaspora voting. But then Shkoja Elektronika getting 2nd in the semi, the best result in the semi since Rona Nishlu in 2012, and Albania's first top 10 finishing since then. Also feel like they're on a good trajectory. I feel very similar to Poland right now. If they can just keep their national final corruption free, keep up the quality, build up the prestige even farther, I think that Albania will continue to grow in this. But still, they've been very strong. 5 qualifications in the last 7 contests is really excellent. But you can see 8th, 9th, 10th, and 9th in the first 4 of those. Coming second this year was just that little bit extra improvement. In 24th place, we have a country that not only qualified but won the contest. It is Austria, our host for next year, who've qualified 4 of the last 7 years. They did a somewhat similar pattern to Netherlands and Switzerland, not qualifying 4 to 5 years up until 2013. Then they qualified 4 years in a row, 14, 16, 17, and 18. Then 3 non-qualifications in a row, 19, 21, and 22. I'm not sure what's happening here, if this is a change up in the delegation or just a little bit of bad luck. But now they're back on a 3 qualification streak in 23, 24, and 25. Who the hell is Edgar coming second in the semi-final? JG coming 5th, but then winning the contest, showing that it doesn't matter what you come in the semi-finals as long as you just get into the final. I think their internal selection method works really well for them, although they might be having a national final this year. But really great that they've managed to turn things around, and they're definitely one of the strongest countries, one of the few countries who've won the contest twice in the last 20 years. Let's go to the country in 23rd place, and they have had our biggest drop of anyone, moving down 6 places, because a lot of the countries around them all qualified this year. They didn't. It's Cyprus, with a qualification rate of 62.5%, qualifying 5 of the last 7 years. But look at this incredible record from Cyprus. Now, they had those 4 non-qualifications in 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then they were on, off 10, 11, 12, and 13. But then since they took their break in 2014, coming back in 2015, they've had 6 qualifications in a row, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, which is absolutely incredible for an island as small as Cyprus to have such a wonderful qualification record. And none of those 6 qualifications was points from Greece the determining factor. So they're qualifying by their own merit. Since that 6 qualification streak been a little bit more 50-50, not qualifying in 22, some strange staging decisions, despite having a really great song, qualified in 23 and 24, non-qualifying quite famously this year, Theo Evans. So a really strong period in the middle, quite a rocky starting, and now possibly getting into a rocky period. Let's see how they bounce back. There's rumors that Athena Manoukian might be representing them this year, who's been in the Armenian national final before. That's not confirmed yet, but it would be interesting. And it would kind of fit in with the type of artist that and song and sound that they tend to pick. So I wouldn't be super surprised if that did happen. We know that Athena is very keen. But really wonderful to see such a small country be able to have such a fabulous success of the contest. Now, speaking of countries who are having success at the contest, this is a country that used to be very successful and are going through a bit of a rocky period. They qualified this year though. They're in 22nd place, moving up 1 spot. That is Denmark. Again, you may be surprised that they're so high, with a qualification rate of 62.5. Now, you might expect them to be a little bit lower than this, particularly coming off that 4 non-qualification streak in 21, 22, 23, and 24. But you can see if we go back a little bit, they had a 6 qualification streak that culminated in getting the win in 2013. So Denmark used to be so incredibly solid, and you can see these qualifications as well are pretty good ones. 3rd, 8th, 5th, 2nd, 9th, and 1st in their semi-finals. So Denmark used to be so strong, and I feel like the contest has gotten stronger and they just haven't evolved with it. Feel very similar problem to Ireland RT, that DR is just a bit stuck in the times, not enough innovation, not enough self-critique, self-reflection to try and improve. You know, they had 2 non-qualifications in 15 and 16, came back on a 3 streak in 17, 18, and 19, then 4. And then obviously they qualified this year with Sisal. It's going to be so interesting to see what are they going to do in the 2026 season. Have they learned any lessons? Are they going to evolve and develop? Or, like Mambi Thug with Ireland, was this just a blip where they just were lucky to have such a wonderful artist? So really interested. I'm going to be so fascinated to watch DMGP this year. It's one of the national finals I'm actually really anticipating, because I want to see, has there been growth, or are we just back to what we saw between 21 and 24? Next up is a country that is currently not in the contest, but I'm hoping that we'll see them back in 2026. That is Moldova, with a qualification rate of 62.5. You may notice that's the same as Denmark. I use an average ranking to break tiebreakers. Obviously, we didn't see them last year because things got really messy, but generally they've participated really solidly since they joined the contest in 2005 with the Dobsy Dub who have represented them 3 times. I didn't realize that obviously they've represented them 3 times in total with Mama Beats the Drum. I'd forgotten, and then So Lucky as well, yeah. And then Tranelitsul, 3 times, 3 qualifications as well. Is that the best qualification rate for an artist in the contest? So obviously the dub. I know that Sanja Vucic has had 2 qualifications, and those 3 times they came 6th, 12th, and 7th. I've never realized how epic Zadobzi's the dub is. I'm saying them wrong. I don't know how to say it. Unsung heroes of Eurovision. But you can see here they had a really good start. 5 qualifications in a row, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. 3 non-qualifyings between 14, 15, 16. Back in it with 17 and 18th, getting 2 top 10s as well, as coming 2nd and 3rd in their semi-final. So Moldova is really an example of a country that using a lot of culture, fun, charm to get over the fact that they don't have a huge financial pool to draw from. So just using a lot of creativity, especially Dorados, I think of that as one of the most creative stagings. Then they went on another 3 qualification streak in 21, 22, 23. 24 was confusing for me. I thought the national final was messy. I thought the staging was messy. I thought the song had very boring lyrics. There were only like 10 lines in the song. And then withdrawing last year, I really hope we see Moldova back. I think as well, the better that they do and the more consistently they're in the contest, the more it'll make Romania want to come back. I think if Moldova's out as well, maybe there'll be less longing from Romania. So Moldova's success has many benefits to it. Let's go to the country in 20th place. I've spoken a lot about countries who've turned their fortunes around, come up with a new system and had a lot of success. And the next one of those is Portugal, who are on a 5 qualification streak right now. But let's go back to 2008, where they had 3 qualifications in a row in 8, 9, and 10. So things started off really well for them. But then they had 4 non-qualifications in a row. 11, 12, 14, 15. They took a break in 13 and also 16. Came back and won the contest for the first time, also winning that semi-final. Didn't qualify in 2019 with Telemoveš, which I think is a wonderful song. And then 5 qualifications since then. Really, really incredible. 4th, 9th, 8th, and 9th. And a couple of those people weren't expecting. I didn't expect Napa to qualify this year. Greedo, I think most people thought that could get through. Love Is On My Side was a bit of a surprise for some people, even though it ended up coming 4th in the semi. Portugal are doing their own thing, sending great artists, very unique sounding Portuguese songs, and people are just really enjoying it. You can see in the language section there as well. They're one of the most consistent for sticking to Portuguese. Black Mamba is the only song that's entirely in English. That was the first one. I remember that was a little bit of a shock at the time. But yeah, really wonderful from Portugal. They've moved up 2 places in, and I'm expecting them to qualify in 2026 again. I don't see why this formula would suddenly stop working. Festival Canção is going to have a lot of very heartfelt Portuguese sounding songs. People are loving that right now. I don't know why people would stop loving it. So I'm expecting Portugal to just keep going on, especially this year when people really didn't expect Deslocado to qualify and the delegation pulled it out of the bag. People like the Portuguese sound. Okay, now we have a 3-way tie. All 3 of these countries have 64.7%. This first country was last in the tiebreaker. They've moved up 2 spots. They did qualify this year. It's Estonia, and they've actually qualified 6 of the last 7 contests, which is absolutely spectacular. When you think of them and Cyprus, that's because I think they've both got similar populations, just punching above their weight so excellently, and both in different ways. 1 internal selection, 1 through a national final. Let's look at how they started. They've been pretty solid. You can see here they've never had more than 2 years in a row where they didn't qualify. 16 and 17, and 17 Verona was one of my favorite songs that year. But then since 2018, qualifying every single year, apart from Ukusivista, the lucky one, which I definitely think didn't deserve to qualify. And I don't think he would have qualified in 2020 either. I remember reviewing Estila that year and hating that song, and hating his song in 2021 as well. I just want to eliminate him from Estonia's Eurovision history. But other than that, fantastic results. Tommy Cash coming 2nd this year. Really fabulous. I look at Estonia and Finland, and they're the countries that I look at as a template for what I want Ireland to become in the contest. Estonia's got a much smaller population, Finland's got a bigger one, but they've just built these fabulous national finals with so much quality, so much talent. It's a real showcase for anyone who wants to show up that they've got musical talent in the country. So Esilau, fabulous, love Estonia in the contest. Really, really hope that they can get their 2nd win. I would love one of Baltic countries to get a win really, really soon. All 3 of them qualified this year. Let's go to the second country on 64.7%, and I just spoke about them. It is Finland. They are in this pack with Portugal, Netherlands, Switzerland, Austria, for countries who just turned around their fortunes at Eurovision. Let's go back into the past, and you can see here they were qualifying, but then they were coming 22nd, 25th, 21st, and 24th in the final. But yeah, their qualification rate wasn't too bad up until 2015, 15, 16, 17, 3 non-qualifications in a row. They brought in Sarah Alto, who was not the biggest star, but was quite a big star. She scraped into the final at 10th in her semi-final. Then another non-qualification from 2019. They saw, okay, getting the big stars in is not working. Brought in Tapio Hakkinen, DJ Orchidea, who did a big revamp along with help of UMK. And since then, 5 qualifications in a row, all top 7, all totally deserved, including 3 top 11 finishes. One of the strongest countries in the contest right now. They're up to 64.7%. They're going to be top 10. They just need to keep going. Very similar to Portugal. Why is their system suddenly going to stop working? They've got so much talent. UMK shows off that talent in such a beautiful way. Finland and Portugal are just on an upwards trajectory. I can't see why anything's going to change for them. Now, the third and final country on 64.7 is not as happy as Estonia and Finland. They're currently in 17th spot. They just moved up 2 places because they qualified. It's Iceland. I wouldn't say things are dire for Iceland, but I don't think they're in their best period. Let's go back to 2008, where they qualified 7 years in a row. This is the thing. Iceland and Denmark used to be perennial qualifiers. Super solid, guaranteed to be in there. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All of them top 8 in the semi-final. And then something happened. I don't know what happened. If you're Icelandic and you know, let me know. Something changed between 15, 16, 17, and 18 because they non-qualified 4 times. I don't know what happened in the music scene or their selection process or the head of delegation. I don't know. But then things finally changed when they went for something totally different in 2019 with Hattari. And then Dathi in 2020 very arguably could have won the contest. Back in 21 came in 4th. So they had a really strong period in 19, 21, and 22 where they qualified 3 years in a row. 2 non-qualifications in 23 and 24, which I think were deserved. Deliao's vocals were wonderful, but the song wasn't there. Hera Bjork, I don't think would have won her semi-final if it wasn't for protest voting. There were accusations of some rigging as well. And then Vibe, fabulous this year, really turning things around with incredible pre-season promotion. Really want Iceland to get that first win and just get back into that period they had in the early 10s. Okay, next up in 16th place, moving down 4 places because they didn't qualify this year, it is Australia with a qualification streak of 66.7, so 2/3. And you can see, obviously, they only joined the contest in 2015. They've been in 10 contests now, which is really wonderful. Hopefully, we'll see 11 in Vienna, where it all began. And you can see they started with 4 out of 4 qualifications, so they had that 100% qualification rate, which ended in 21 with Montaigne. Right back on, though, with Sheldon Riley and Voyager getting 2 qualifications, but then Electric Fields and Gojo both coming 11th. Now, Electric Fields, I felt was slightly deserved. Really cool song, but I felt the staging was so flat, didn't have enough movement or excitement in it. And then Gojo, I just felt like, I just did a video about it, so go watch that. But a little bit unlucky in some aspects, and then some of the staging decisions not great, and the vocals a bit off. So yeah, I hope that we see Australia back because they bring so much to the contest. But yeah, they're in their darkest period. 2 qualifications in a row is not terrible, especially considering that they've qualified 6 times. They know they can do it. Really, really hope that we see them back in the contest ASAP. Okay, the country in 15th place, I'm not going to cover. I don't think that they should be in the contest. I think that they should be removed from it. They brought the contest into disrepute in multiple ways, and I hope that the right decision will be made in December for them to be removed. Again, 14th place, moving up 1 spot with a rate of 70.6 is Lithuania. It's our final Baltic country with qualifying 6 of the last 7 years, which is really, really crazy good. So why they're not higher? Let's go back a little bit. And we can see, to be honest, they've never non-qualified 2 years in a row, which is very exciting statistic if you're Lithuanian. But they didn't make it in 2008 or 10 or 14 or 17 or 19. So they have had non-qualifications, but they've been pretty spread out. I have to admit, I think all of those are justified. I don't think there's any robberies there at all. Apart from Eastern European funk. That's actually a really fun song. I would have liked to see that in the final, but I think they were first in the semi-final, so that might have been why. But yeah, recently, fabulous. Aeva qualifying in 18, and then a 5 qualification streak in 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 2020 would have qualified as well, definitely. So it would have been 6 if the contest had happened. And we can see that they're starting to sing in Lithuanian now. 3 of the last 4 years. I hope they keep that up. People are loving it. Look at these results as well. All of them are in the top 16. I want Lithuania to get that first win. But in the meantime, they're killing it in the semi-finals, doing so well. Great to see them move up 1 spot to. In a 13th place, moving up 1 spot, because Australia moved down, is a country that didn't participate in the last 2 contests, and hopefully we'll see them back one day. It's Romania. Now, this is the opposite of the people I've been speaking about, Finland, Portugal, Netherlands, in terms of Romania started so incredibly strong. Since 2008 qualifying 9 times in a row. They had a 100% qualification record up until 2018. You'll see they got disqualified in 2016, which I thought was a really wonderful song. Moment of Silence from Oviedo. I think that would have qualified as well. I thought it was a really fun song with Game of Thrones staging back when Game of Thrones was kind of at its peak, so I felt like it would have been received very well. It all went downhill in 2018 when they barely non-qualified with the Humans. They came 11th, and then it was just a rush down to the bottom. No, non-qualifying in 18 and 19. I actually loved their song in 2019 on a Sunday. It's my favorite Romanian Eurovision song ever. Roxanne, Amnesia, really flop staging, and she's been very dodgy since as well. 22, WRS qualifying pretty much on his own. I think he did that entire package himself. And then we all know what happened in 23. I actually did a video about it. What's wrong with Romania in Eurovision? One of my first Eurovision mini documentaries. TVR have been gone now for the last 2 years. Are they ever going to come back? I think they need to do a massive revamp. Slightly unfortunate that Romania's main TV channel, which I believe is Pro TV, is not public, so they can't step in. That's the TV channel that does X Factor and all of the big shows that people actually watch. You have to be a public broadcaster to be in Eurovision. Okay, now let's get into our top 12. Can you guess who's in the top 12? Probably guess a couple of them, but I don't know if you guess our 10th place country. They aren't currently in the contest, but who knows, we might see them back in 2027. It's Hungary. With 72.7%, they were last in the contest in 2019 when they non-qualified. But if you look before then, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. 8 years in a row they did qualify. It didn't look great when they pulled out as well because they qualified 8 years in a row, didn't qualify one time, and it looked like they were kind of having a huff. But yeah, they have a pretty successful record, didn't qualify in 08, 09, and then every single year until 2019. The elections are going to be happening next April, and the opposition to the current leader has said that he will bring Hungary back to the contest if he wins. So if Magyar wins in April, we could see Hungary in Eurovision 2027. But at this point in time, they've moved up 1 spot. They are 12 in the qualification records. In 11th spot, let's go to a country who didn't qualify this year. They have a qualification rate of 73.3. It is Serbia, staying put. And you can see here that they had this 6 qualification streak going from 2018. And they also had the streak, which I've spoken about a lot, that they were always in the top 11 of the semi-finals. That broke this year with Prince coming 14th in the semi-final. They also didn't qualify in 2009. That was because of the golden jury rule that I spoke about at the start with North Macedonia. They also didn't make it in 2013 and also 2017. So wonderful qualification record. Only those 4 times not qualifying, and they're all very spread out. I have to admit though, if you ask me at this point in time, are Serbia going to qualify next year? I would guess no, unless there's a huge turnaround. But based on the political situation in the country, I don't know if a lot of big artists are going to want to apply to PZE. If they even do PZE, who knows, they might go internal. But yeah, I don't think things are looking particularly good for Serbia, although they have confirmed that they intend to participate in 2026. Okay, another country who didn't qualify this year was Azerbaijan, with a 75% qualification rate, very similar to Romania. They joined the contest in 2008 and had 10 qualifications in a row, even better than Romania. 2018 was the big year. Romania, Azerbaijan, and Russia all non-qualifying for the first time in a very competitive year. They got straight back into it though, qualifying in 19, 21, and 22. But then since we've had televote only semi-finals, they've really struggled. 3 non-qualifications in a row in 23, 24, and 25. Again, similar to Serbia, I'm not expecting them to qualify next year. There's nothing to indicate to me that they're making progress and they're evolving. Azerbaijan really going through a very tough period right now. Due to that extremely strong start, they're still in the top 10. Okay, we're not going far for a country in 9th place. It's Armenia, who are moving up one spot. They've done a swap and they have a qualification rate of 80%. They joined a little bit earlier than Azerbaijan in 2006, qualified the first 5 years in a row, didn't qualify in 2011, which I thought was a robbery. Emmy, boom, boom. I really like that song. Took a break in 2012, came back and qualified 5 years in a row, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, two non-qualifications in 18 and 19. Since then, they've had a rejig of their system. They went internal for 3 years, 3 female artists, Rosalind, Brunette and Ladaniva qualifying 3 times in a row. And then Parg was part of their new national final, which I don't know is going to continue or not. Does anyone know down below? Are we getting Debri Afretisil back again, or are we going back to internal selections? I'm not sure, but generally Armenia is one of the strongest countries in Eurovision to have never won. Their best result was 2014 RMMP3, and then also Sirusho Kele Kele, 2 quite famous songs. RMMP3 was actually one of the favorites to win in 2014. I remember that he was the bookies' favorite at one point. But yeah, Armenia have never been top 3, but really, really successful in the semi-finals. 80% qualification rate. Again, next up, we have another country that unfortunately is not in the contest, although there are a couple of rumblings that they could potentially return in the future. We talk about them every year. It's Turkey. So they've been out of the contest since 2012, but up until then, they qualified in 08, 09, 2010. They didn't qualify in 2011, coming 13th. And then their last contest, 2012, they qualified with Love Me Back. So they had a really strong qualification record, a very strong televote, but they left the contest for similar reasons to Hungary. Coming up on 14 years when we last saw them in the contest. Really hope we get them back soon. I am expecting Turkey to return to the contest at some point, but I do think something needs to change politically. Erdogan, I think, is on his last term, and potentially someone new comes in, they might have a different viewpoint about the contest. But I think this is really important to build connections between Turkey and Europe. I think that's a really important relationship. So it's sad that they aren't there. Huge Turkish diaspora around Europe, not represented. So yeah, I really, really hope that we see Turkey back soon. And when they do come back, I'm expecting them to be super, super strong. Pretty much guaranteed to qualify most years. Okay, in 7th place, with a qualification rate of 82.4, these are very nice, healthy qualification numbers, is Greece, who of course qualified this year. They stayed put. And if we go back to 2008, we can see 8 qualifications in a row up until 2016. Argo. I actually like Argo's song, by the way. I don't know if I should feel guilty about that. Qualified in 2017. Out again in 2018. I believe there were staging problems with Yana Tirtsi. Their staging concept was refused or something, quite last minute. Qualified in 19, 21, 22. Didn't qualify in 23 when there was big drama about their selection process, people being sued, and now they're back on a streak again in 24, 25. I feel like Greece are in a really, really strong position. I just covered them in my final review series, how I feel of the countries in the southwest and the east of Europe. They are the most likely to get a win in the coming years. And when you have a qualification record of 82.4, and you're so consistently in the final, you're more likely to get that potential win. Also notable is that the last 2 songs have been fully in Greek. I hope that's something that continues, similar to Lithuania, also going into their national language as well. And people really, really love hearing all these beautiful languages. Again, next up, we have, unfortunately, another country that's not in the contest, but we could be seeing them back in a couple of years. We've had some recent news showing that their financial woes may be at an end. It's Bosnia and Herzegovina. They last won the contest in 2016, but before that, they qualified in 2008, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So they had a 5 qualification streak. They had to take a break in 13, 14, and 15, came back in 2016 and almost qualified. They came 11th, but that did break their streak, their only non-qualification. So 5 out of 6 qualifications for Bosnia, putting them at 83.3%, which is really impressive. Another country like Turkey, who I'm expecting to return to the contest eventually. There are these issues they've had financially where they haven't been receiving their tax income from television. I covered this in one of my news episodes, but it appears that this could be coming to an end. If they can finally sort that out, they'll get all the money back, pay off their debts to the EBU, and then they'll no longer be blocked from competing. I wonder when they come back, will they be as strong? Because obviously when they were competing last time in the 10s, it was kind of a different era. There were different scoring systems, different formats. Would they be able to come back as strong? I have to admit, I'm not too sure. If you're Bosnian, leave me a comment. What's your music scene like? Do you have really, really strong artists who could get a really good result? Their best result ever was 3rd place in 2006, Leyla, which is a gorgeous song. Really, really, really beautiful. So I'd love to have Bosnia back. Hopefully it could be in 27, maybe 28, if things go well. Something to look forward to for a couple of years from now. Okay, let's go to the other side of Europe. Staying put in 5th place is Norway. We can actually see they were a little bit less consistent than Denmark and Iceland were in the late noughties and the early teens. They qualified in 8, 9 and 10, but failed to qualify in 11 and barely made it in 12. They had a 4 qualification streak in 12, 13, 14, 15. Didn't qualify in 16 with Agnieszka Icebreaker, which I really like as a song. I remember watching that national final, one of the first national finals I ever watched, cheering for her to win. That was one of my favorite songs that season. But since then, 8 qualifications in a row, although a little bit close with Tix in 21 coming 10th and Gote in 24 coming 10th as well. So they've been very, very, very close to the cusp. And you'll notice that of all those qualifications, only Alexander Rybak was in the top 4. So 5th, 7th, 10th, 6th, 6th, 10th and 8th. So kind of towards the bottom half of qualifying, but they're getting the job done. And this year was a perfect example. I thought that MGP, the national final, was quite weak, but they had one good song. They picked it, which you may not think is an accomplishment, but there are other national finals that only have one good song and then dump it. Kyle performed the best song very, very well, qualified them, and did very well considering that he opened up the show. I'm hoping that this was just a little bit of a blip here for Norway, and they're going to get back to having a super strong national final, because it is usually one of my favorite national finals of the year. It wasn't in 25. Hope to see Norway continue their incredible qualification streak, one of the best streaks we have going right now. We're not going far for the next country. We're just going to hop across the border. This country has a 92.9% qualification rate. It is Sweden. Yes, I speak about it quite a lot on my channel that they've only non-qualified one time. Poor Anna Börjendahl. So unfair because she came 11th, even though Charlotte Pirelli actually came 12th in her semi-final in 2008, but she was the beneficiary of this golden jury rule that I spoke about with Serbia and North Macedonia. But you can see since 2011, 11 qualifications in a row. There are very few people who are going to bet against Sweden qualifying nowadays. And you can also see that since then, they've been first, second, third, second, third, 7th, 1st, 2nd, 4th. So not even outside the top 7. And if you exclude Tusa, never outside the top 4 in the semi-final. So guaranteed to qualify every single year. I think it's deserved. They send so much quality. Their national final is so well produced. I know that it's quite stale that we have the same songwriters all the time, but it's working for them. This pool of songwriters know they have somewhere to send their songs to. I would like to see a little bit of evolution, but at the same time, Sweden's been so successful, I don't blame them for not wanting to make massive changes. So let's instead go to the contest in 2nd place. And you might be a little bit surprised, but it makes sense when you hear who it is. It's Luxembourg. They have a 100% qualification rate. They've only been back in the contest for 2 years, but they've qualified both times, coming 5th and 7th in their semi-finals. Keep in mind, when Australia joined the contest in 2015, they had 4 qualifications in a row, so they kept their 100% record for 4 years. How long can Luxembourg do the same thing? I think a non-qualification is going to come pretty soon. I just don't see Luxembourg as being a big powerhouse. They did a great job this year. Yeah, I'm expecting that first qualification is going to come in the next 2-3 years. And they're going to lose that 100% record and leave our country at the top on their own with a 100% record. But yes, it's kind of fun to have someone else have an unbroken record at this point in time. I think that they've done such a great job at absorbing themselves back into the contest, starting to build up a little bit of a persona. So I'm happy that they've been rewarded with 2 final appearances for that. Which means that our country in 1st place, also with a 100% record, is Ukraine. You knew it was Ukraine. So wonderful. I talk about them a lot on the channel because I really admire them. I think they send wonderful entries. They take the contest so seriously. Beautiful staging, beautiful songs of so many different genres as well. They don't just send the same formulaic entries every year. All of them sound so different, so many different viewpoints of their music culture. And that's why I admire them so much in the contest, and why I think they deserve such great results. There's sometimes these narratives online that they're only doing well since the war escalated in 22, but let's look at these old results, and they were just as magical back then. If we even look pre-2008, they also qualified in 2006 and 2004, so they have a 100% plus record because they also qualified with the old semi-final system. Since 2008, their results in the semi-finals have been 1st, 6th, 7th, 6th, 8th, 3rd, 5th, 2nd, 6th, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 1st. I actually believe that Gaetana in 2012 wasn't in the top 10. I think it was at the televote because it was a split system, but her combined ranking was 8th. I don't think that they're going to non-qualify anytime soon. I think when they do eventually non-qualify, it'll be because something happened. They lost passion for the contest, or there was a particularly weak vidbeer or something. I don't know. But I just can't see it happening anytime soon because, again, similar to Finland and Portugal with Festival Canção, they have a wonderful national final that really attracts up-and-coming talent. And as long as that system still exists, I just don't see why it's going to suddenly break down and they're going to have a terrible entry. Plus, even if they do have a weak entry, they have wonderful staging, wonderful visuals and creativity. So it would take multiple different things, musically, artist-wise, creativity, visuals, for all of them to break down for them to non-qualify. It will happen eventually, but at the end of the day, even if they do non-qualify one time, they're still going to be leading the rankings because it'll be such an odd blip. And I think that their qualification record is so deserved because the passion put in is incredible. So I can't see things changing anytime soon. Okay, that is the top 39 countries in terms of qualification streaks in the contest. What did you think? Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Who was higher than you expected? Who was lower than you expected? What statsy video do you want to see me do next? I'm going to redo some of my videos from previous seasons. Let me know which one you're looking forward to. Thank you to those who've been supporting me on PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to support the channel, I'll leave a QR code for you here and a link in the description. And of course, thank you to those who are supporting me on Patreon, especially in the off season where their support is so vital for keeping the channel alive. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in another Eurovision analysis video very soon. Goodbye.